Well, welcome everybody to Conquering Weight Loss. And today our guest is Ellie Savoy, and she is a board certified holistic health coach. And she's also an author, and she's written the book Stop Dieting, Start Living. And I'm so excited. How did you come to write that? What is your story of your life that led you to all of this, to helping others?
Well, I was a yo-yo dieter myself for over 20 years. And for as little as 5 pounds, I didn't have a weight issue when I was a child. But when I reached my late teens, even just for like a little bit of fat on my hips, I just nitpicked my figure. Anyway, at my heaviest, I was 30 pounds heavier than I am now. And so I was a yo-yo dieter all that time. And so many people have done that and continue to do that. And we tend to do it for decades.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To get to a point where it's like, enough is enough. But anyway, I had what I call a wake-up call from my gynecologist in 2011, where she called me up and wanted me to come back into the office, which had never happened before. And I was like, oh my God, what's wrong? Well, she told me that I had 2 uterine fibroids and that I would need, I had 4 options. 3 were surgery, one of which was a hysterectomy. And the 4th one was to do nothing. Well, long story short, I was so upset by this. And I just felt like, this is how neglect is shown up for me. And so I was scared to death to have surgery. And I thought, I'm going to do something. So I went on a hormone rejuvenation program, homeopathic, for 3 cycles. I had to decide what I could let go of physically and emotionally, eat 100% organic food, and give up the booze. And I jumped
Give up the what? Oh, the booze.
The booze.
Alcohol.
I wasn't drinking morning, noon, and night, but I was drinking like most nights, wine.
Right.
And so, I was stressed out and, as I said, overweight, and I would skip meals, eat late, go out at least 4 nights a week, blah, blah, blah. And it got to the point with this diagnosis where I just felt, you know what, this is a wake-up call. My mother had uterine cancer at age 51, and I was 47 at this point.
Wow, yeah.
And I just felt like this is how neglect had shown up for me. So anyway, in jumping in to attempt to heal my body naturally rather than have this surgery, the fibroids started to shrink, and I realized that I actually enjoyed slowing my life down. And so this was how my book came about, because how I got onto this path was because I made myself a priority, and I have never deviated from that. It's like I came up with 3 non-negotiables, because I'm a giver, as many of us are, and I would put my hand up for everything. I'd be, I'll do it. Yeah. And then I would say no if it meant I did not have time to go and exercise, or I did not have time to go and get my groceries, or I didn't have time to cook my meals. And now, because I've been doing this since 2011, it's just so natural to me. It's just a lifestyle. It's like we get dressed and brush our teeth every day. So it just comes so naturally to me, because I never want to have surgery. I just feel like, and I know this sounds a little cliche, but hand on heart, it's true. I feel better now in my 50s than I did in my 30s and early 40s.
Wow.
And I feel like it gets better and better. It's like I'm so proactive that I am just not going to fall apart. I sailed through menopause. I wouldn't have if I hadn't have changed my ways. I had hot flashes for 2 weeks, and I haven't had them. I just haven't had them, and I embraced being healthy. So my book, Stop Dieting and Start Living, is just about that. When we take the emphasis off weight loss, because there's a reason we have excess weight. We have to get to the root of what that is. And so it's, we want to blame our age. I would say, oh, when I turned 35, it was my metabolism. And when I turned 40, I said, oh, it's my hormones. Well, once I changed my ways and that was so easy and simple for me, and it's just stuck, and it's gone, it just kept going up and up. I kept making further changes and tweaks, and it's just like, if we put the wrong fuel in a car, if it takes unleaded and we put diesel in, it's not going to run. And our body is our vehicle. It takes us places. And so when we're not well, I mean, for any of us who haven't, who even has a cold for a day, it's such an inconvenience, let alone having a disease or having to go for, treatments and things. So health is our first wealth. And I just, became so passionate, and still am passionate, about thriving as I age, instead of falling apart and just being so focused on weight all the time. So that's how it all came about. And I'm just so passionate about helping other women. I have worked with men too, but primarily it's women who really are tired of dieting. But as we get older, like a lot of the women I work with are sort of in the 50s, early 60s, and, maybe a bit older. And as the clock keeps ticking, it's like, wow, they feel like their health isn't where they want it to be. And so if they don't get control now, what's it going to look like a year from now, 5 years from now? They want to travel. They want to fulfill their bucket list. They want to play with their grandchildren. They want things. They have things they want to do. But if we don't have our health, everything changes.
Well, nothing else matters, because this is the number one priority. Even if you don't prioritize, this is the priority that takes over. So we talked about some mindsets within that framework of priorities, or the priorities are inside the mindsets. And so what are some of the other of the 5 mindsets we talked about that you love practicing and sharing with your clients?
Yep. Well, as I said, I like to use the house as a metaphor, because when I was a yo-yo dieter and not focusing on my health, when I felt like I needed to clean my act up a bit, I would go on a cleanse. And my husband and I did our first one in the year 2000. We could barely last a day because it was this awful tea. And we tried other things over the years, but it was like we kept thinking about, I can't wait to get off this cleanse. We could have a glass of wine or go out for something to eat, right? So what I discovered is that there was a sequence to how I got off the diet in roller coaster and have maintained being healthy and feel great about doing that. So the priorities piece is like the foundation. So anything that's not built on a solid foundation is not going to last. Right. And diets are not that. That's why we don't stick with them, because they don't deal with any of this. It's just follow this, count that, blah, blah, blah. And I've done many, many diets, counted points, calories, carbs, you name it, more than once. And then the next piece is the pretending. So I discovered that, I would tell myself I didn't eat all those cookies, or I didn't have, 3 glasses of wine 5 nights a week. And so it's like the excuses and the denial that we want to believe our reality is something different than it really is. And then the third P is perception. So we often think that it takes too long to cook a meal. It's just too much hassle. Easier to go out. There's no cleanup.
Or we don't have the time to exercise, or
exactly all of that, right? So again, it's another mindset shift. All we have is time. All we have is now, this minute, this second. And so I used to, it was like if I could see myself over there in the corner, I would say, oh, Ellie, I see you. I'll get to you one day, but I just don't know when. I'm so busy, but I will get to you. And so, again, that could even be, think of that in terms of neglect, the perception of too busy, the to-do list is too long, that I'll get to it one day, but the day is today, now, and switch our mindset about that. And then the first P is like the foundation, the pretending is like putting up the walls, and then which ties in also to the perception piece. The fourth P I want to get to is plan. So that's like putting the roof on the house. Now, to me, when I was not living a healthy lifestyle, not being as proactive daily as I am now and just being reactive, so those cleanses were like trying to put a roof on something that had no foundation. And that's why I couldn't do it or be successful at it, because I just didn't have the structure in place. You know, there's a sequence to creating something that lasts. And so, and then the fifth P is, so the fourth P is plan, which is like we don't just wake up one day and say, well, we're going to travel across the world, or like we're going to decorate this room. We plan to do these things, but yet, you know, I wasn't planning what I was going to eat today or tomorrow half the time. And so then we just grab what's convenient on the go. And convenience isn't our friend, because it's just, when you're eating like that, so much of it just isn't healthy, and we just don't know what's in it. Then the fifth P is passion. I realized that I developed a passion for being healthy. And when we have a passion for something, we do it. So if someone's passion is to play golf or to go dancing, they will do it. We don't find the excuses for things that we love to do.
Right.
So I developed this passion. It's like it fuels me, literally. I mean, the food I eat, it's not like I'm like, I live here too. I'm not living in a bubble. You know, I do go out to eat, not all the time, but you know, more particular about where we eat or what we eat. But everything I bring into the house is organic. Yes, the perception piece, it does cost more at the register, but it is cheaper than being sick.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Right?
So it's like spend it now or spend it later. And spending it now is much cheaper than spending it later. So you see how they all kind of tie in together, because now I don't have any excuses. I used to exercise for weight loss. Now I exercise for my health. I have no excuses about going to the gym. It's like this is an investment in myself, in my long-term health. Yeah. Because when my time comes to, like, you know, kick the bucket, I don't want to spend months or years trying to heal my body of something. It's like, you know, it's just time to leave this body and just go quickly. So I just
and without all the stress and the hassle of huge doctor bills, hospital. Most people spend most of their life savings on doctors and hospitals at the end that they stressed out to make the money for, and it's pointless.
Yeah, and that's a big motivator for me right there, because in America it's sick care, and it's just, honestly, I mean, the body can be healed of so many things when food is being used as medicine.
Yes.
But, you know, the way the whole system is just, don't get me started, but I choose to not be part of that system.
Right.
And take care of myself, because the alternative is just too scary, both in a physical sense and a financial sense, emotional, all of it.
Absolutely. And when I found great cellular nutrition, that's what my kids had, and all their allergies, asthma cleared up. I stopped taking them to the pediatrician because I didn't want the interference of a lot of stuff, which can happen,
Yeah.
or seeds that germinate with fear and, you know, false expectations. So I only went to the doctor once in the last, I think, 20 years. And it was just to get a health and wellness checkup when my husband and I were 65. And they said, what are you doing that you have not been on drugs at all and you're, you know, doing well? And I just said, great nutrition.
Yeah, well,
but it's also the exercise piece and the mindset. And
yeah, well, you look great. Well,
yeah, almost 70. This is my 70th year, and I'm passionate about that, living well to the very last breath.
Yeah,
and fulfilling my bucket list before my bucket falls off the edge of it or goes up to heaven. Yeah. So
there was a term I learned in my training called compression of morbidity. What it, yeah, and so for anybody who doesn't know what that means, it's sort of like, you know, you have let's say you get a diagnosis and then you're gone in 2 weeks. It's like a rapid drop off at the end. So you can live to be a ripe old age, but so many people think that being older means arthritis, aches and pains, you know,
slowing down, getting more infirm. Yes,
exactly. So it's not. I mean, as you are living, it's like they say we are what we eat, but we're also what we absorb. And in this day and age, it's not just the food that we have to digest and absorb. It's our life plates. It's the stress. It's the go-go. There's too much coming at us all the time. And honestly, I could be in that game too. I mean, I'm busy, but I choose to like not allow it to infiltrate my life in that way, because that was the old me. And I love feeling healthy and happy, and they go hand in hand. And so it's just how I'm living now, and it's lovely. And I just feel like it's not just for me or you or the few of us, it's for everybody who wants to make this decision.
Yeah, it's like catch it now and live in complete wellness and peace and joy and love everyone around you, because a lot of times people's greatest regret is that they didn't share their life with their loved ones enough, and there isn't that incredibly deep connection of love. Yeah. And so
and like with the priority piece, going back to that, I mean, if we just take a minute to think about what the priorities are in our lives, we never want to be without our cell phones, so they're charged up, right? Yet I used to anyway, I don't anymore, but run myself ragged till I was completely drained.
Yes.
So, we all have priorities, but sometimes we might just rethink them. And it's not the same for everybody. But, it's like on the plane, they tell us to put our own oxygen mask on first for a reason. Because if we're not well, I see so many people get depleted because they're taking care of an aging parent or somebody who's sick, or they're working a job and have a family and going to school. It's like you just cannot do it all. You just can't. The body cannot push through. And we're told, just push through it, just push through. No, the body cannot cope with all of that.
Right. Your body gets to be led by your spirit and by, some of the good mindsets and priorities and intentions. Absolutely. Beautifully, Beautifully said. Well, I know you have a gift for our listeners. Can you explain what you're gifting everyone?
Yes, absolutely. It's called 5 Simple Steps to Permanent Weight Loss from a Former Yo-Yo Dieter. Yours truly.
Beautiful, beautiful. So all our listeners need to do is just click the button below and you'll get that gift. And they can also get your book on Amazon or the Audible or.
Yeah, it's in paperback, Kindle, and Audible. Audio. I recorded it.
Oh, with your beautiful British accent. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's lots of great reviews, actually. It warms my heart because whoever reaches out to me, I just got an email from a lady last week who actually won my book in a raffle at an event where I was speaking. And she told me that she she put every single word she read.
Wow. Amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So
wow.
It's done its job and continues to do its job, because I can't stand, for myself, I was trapped in this game, but so many are, and so they still are, and they think they just can't get out, and I'm just sick of it. And it's like, for anybody that I can help, just turn that around and just learn. We all have patterns and stuff we have to, it's that inner work. That's kind of like what I do in my private coaching is that deeper, finding out that deeper root of where this all stemmed from, and then what you can do about it to move forward and have that, the educational component as well.
Right, and then have ultimate victory. Keep your body healthy and have the body and the health you crave and desire.
Exactly. It's great to feel great.
Older years.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ellie. You've been so wonderful today. I am going to read your book for sure and just, really benefit. And you have so much wisdom to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was lovely to be here.
Thank you.